At the heart of Middle Eastern history stands a city unlike any other. Jerusalem, a city that draws the eyes of the world, stirs faith, inspires poets and rulers, and becomes the center of wars and memory. In the year 1187 AD, this city entered a new page of history when a new sultan raised the banner of unity and determination. Salah, al-Din, al-Ayyubi, Saladin. This is a story of war and peace, of mercy and violence, of courage and strategy. The story of the conquest of Jerusalem by Saladin. Political and historical context before the conquest in the 12th century. The Levant, Egypt, and the eastern Mediterranean coast were a stage for clashes of many powers. After the Crusades began in the late 11th century, several Crusader states settled in the Levant. The Kingdom of Jerusalem, the Principality of Antioch, Tripoli, and others. Raids, alliances, betrayals, all shaped a complex reality. On the other side, Egypt became an example of a strong, centralized state. With the rise of Saladin, the balance of power began to change. Saladin, a Kurdish commander rooted in Islamic values and military discipline, did not come merely as a conqueror, but as a builder of a system spanning Egypt and the Levant. But reaching Jerusalem was not a single battle. It was the result of campaigns and diplomacy. The decisive turning point was the Battle of Hattin. The Battle of Hattin, a turning point. On July 4th, 1187, a battle changed the course of Islamic Crusader history. Hattin, Saladin's army, unified and disciplined, faced Crusader forces weakened by poor decisions and lured into the open plains of Hattin, far from water sources. Through strategy and control of resources, Saladin encircled the enemy. Many Crusader leaders were wounded or captured. The defeat was more than military. It crushed morale and opened the road toward the heart of Crusader power, Jerusalem. Hattin paved the way for successive victories and the surrender of key towns until Saladin's eyes turned to the holy city itself. Preparations for the siege and negotiations. Saladin did not aim for blind destruction. He had two options: storming the city at the cost of bloodshed, or regaining it with minimized chaos. He chose the latter, but moved forward with a formal siege to secure decisive victory. Jerusalem, heavily fortified, had been under Crusader rule for decades. Its residents, Muslims, Christians, and Jews, lived in tension as Saladin's forces approached. Fear, bargaining, and anxiety spread inside the city. Saladin offered humane terms for surrender, but within the city, chaos prevailed. Hostages, ransom demands, vows of vengeance. The balance was delicate, between preserving dignity and enforcing authority, between vengeance and mercy. Saladin enters Jerusalem. On October 2nd, 1187, Saladin arrived at Jerusalem's gates after a string of victories. What made this moment remarkable was not just military success, but the political and moral decisions he made. Saladin announced surrender terms, considered merciful by the standards of the Crusades. There was no massacre of civilians. Instead, ransoms were arranged. Some soldiers were allowed to withdraw, and religious freedom was ensured. Sources record that Saladin respected sacred places. For him, Jerusalem was a holy city whose sanctity must be preserved, and he instructed his soldiers accordingly. Mercy or strategy? Was Saladin's conduct pure mercy or brilliant politics? The answer: both. Mercy stabilized the city, calmed tensions, and reduced rebellion. Politically, it strengthened his legitimacy in the Muslim world and projected an image of justice to Europe, though not without hardship. Many prisoners were released only after heavy ransoms, and some were expelled. The overall treatment of civilians was markedly humane. Contemporary testimonies, Muslim chroniclers hailed Saladin's entry as a moral and political triumph. Crusader sources varied: shock, grief, and attempts at regrouping. Yet most agreed that Jerusalem's fall was monumental. Accounts mention the reopening of holy sites to Muslim pilgrims, once barred for decades. This shaped Jerusalem's legacy for centuries to follow. Long-term impact. In conclusion, the conquest did not end the conflict. Soon came the Third Crusade under Richard the Lion, but the deeper legacy endured. Saladin as a unifier, a commander who blended strategy with moral vision. The lesson is not just military victory, but how leadership and mercy can transform conquest into coexistence. In today's world of conflict, Saladin's story reminds us that compassion can be as powerful as the sword. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. What do you learn from Saladin's character? Can lessons from history still guide us today?